everybody, it's Connie with SimplySimpleStamping.com. Welcome to March 2015 Let's Get Creative tutorial. This month's project is really a wow. Let me show it to you. It is this really great little cube calendar. You just change it around, pick up the boxes, move them around to whatever the date is for the day. Pretty cool, right? We've got all the little months. Look at this, look at this. A little drawer that holds all the months, and it also works as our stand for our little cube calendar. Isn't this great? Let's go ahead and get started with our project today. All right, let's create the actual cubes for our calendar. Now, I'm going to be using the Something Borrowed Designer Series paper. What I love about this one, you get 3 sheets, well, actually you get 12 sheets, so you get 4 of each, 3 patterns. Technically, that's 6 patterns because, as you know, our designer series paper is always double-sided. This paper works terrific because I can cut 12 pieces. So I'm going to cut 4 of each one because that's going to get me this. These have been cut down to 1 7/8 by 1 7/8. But as you can see, I'm going to have 12 of these. I'm just going to create one box for you. And so I've got those cut and ready. Let me set those off to the side. We're going to talk about our box. This is one of Stampin' Up's tiny treat boxes. These worked perfect. I didn't have to do a lot of work to them. You can see on the inside, I have filled it with some dried beans. I really just pulled them out of the cabinet, but you could also use dried popcorn, whatever. We just want to have a little weight to this box. And I did fill it pretty much to the top, but I want to seal this box down, and we're going to do it a little bit differently. So let me show you what we're going to do. I'm going to take the fast fuse. And I know this is a little tricky. You could also do it with some Tombow glue if you wanted. But I'm just going to put some adhesive on the flaps. And don't worry about it being all perfect. All of this is going to get hidden. You're not going to see it at all. I can now close this box up, put my flap down. So all right, now we're going to take those 6 pieces of designer series paper. Remember, they're double-sided, so we want a different pattern all the way around, and we're just going to adhere these all over the cube with fast fuse. I am going to use my silicone mat for putting this fast fuse on, and let me tell you why. I want to get right to the edge. Remember, this project's going to get, it's going to get a workout. So I want to make sure I'm all over very tight on the edges. All right, so you can see I've got my designer series paper, all 6 patterns all over my cube. I've now got 12, and by the way, I'm going to do that with both cubes, but I now have 12 1 3/4 inch circle punches. This is out of Early Espresso. And again, getting fast fuse all over that circle. We're going to do this and adhere these all over the cubes, and we're going to do that to all 12. All right, now we're going to get into the stamping. I'm going to be using the larger than life alphabet and number set. I think this is one of my favorite stamp sets. I wasn't sure it would be something I'd use all the time, but I have been shocked at how many times I have needed this one, and those numbers are perfect for our project. So we are going to just come into some Early Espresso ink. I'm going to begin with the 0. Oh, by the way, these white pieces of paper, the white cardstock, I cut out 12 label brackets. I just found it easier actually to cut them out because the photopolymer is so easy to see right through. It's so easy to stamp with. So I found it just easier to go ahead and cut out 12 of those. And I'm going to put the numbers there on the screen. We need 2 zeros, 2 ones, 2 twos, a 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. The 6 is actually going to also be a 9 when necessary. So that worked out absolutely perfect. So I'm going to go ahead and stamp all my numbers, and then we're going to adhere that, again with fast fuse, we're going to adhere that to our circles. Now, there's no right or wrong way of how they go on, but there is a right or wrong way of what numbers you put on what cube. So this is all in the tutorial notes, so be sure to check it out. But on box number 1, you're going to adhere 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. On your other box, we're going to stamp 0, 1, 2, 6, 7, and 8. So that's how your numbers are going to go. We're going to get these all put together and we're ready to work on the stand. We're now going to create the box and the stand for, this is what's going to hold our months. And also it's going to give it some stability because remember, we added those beans to the cube boxes, so they're going to be a little heavy. All right, so let's go ahead. We're going to start with the drawer, and let me show you how we're going to score this. I've got my Simply Scored board, and I'm going to score this box, this little drawer, at 5/8 of an inch all the way around. Now, the 5/8 inch is the one little baby mark right past the 1/2 inch. So we're going to do that to all 4 sides. And now we can create the box. What I'm going to do is I'm going to snip on all 4 sides. What I'm really doing here is I'm trimming off the score. So I'm just to the side of it so that when I go and miter these, I want that score line totally cut off. So you can see I just snip from the inside of the little tab to the outside. I always like to tell you guys that if you are cutting on anything other than these little squares, you're cutting wrong. We don't want to be cutting on these long ends. So kind of tell yourself, if I'm not cutting a square, stop. We don't want that. So we've got all those mitered. We're now going to come in with our bone folder and we're going to give all of these a good hard crease. I'm now going to come in with the fast fuse. And we're going to, I've got my silicone mat underneath me because otherwise I'm going to have sticky everywhere. So that silicone mat is just awesome. Remember with fast fuse, if you use a light touch, it goes on a lot better. We tend to really, you know, press that down. But boy, that fast fuse is so strong. It's just not necessary. All right, we've got that. We're just going to bring these corners around and just adhere them to the inside of the box. To dress up our drawer, we have a piece of 4.5 inches by 1 inches of soft suede cardstock, and then I have a little 1/2 inch by 4.5 inches of the something borrowed paper. So I went ahead and adhered that down. We're going to come in with a scallop border punch, and we're going to punch a pretty little border in that. So we'll get that punched all the way around. I can now come in, well, come here, Matt. We're now going to adhere this to the box. I want you to pay attention that the scallops, up near the scallops, there isn't any fast fuse. So I'm going to recommend you just go straight down the end. I'm going to overlap just a hair and adhere it to the front of my drawer. So my drawer's all ready to go. We're now going to create a sleeve for this box, again, so that it has a place to slide in and out of. I'm going to call it kind of a matchbox, but we're going to create that. We're going to take that, let's see, it's 11 inches by 2 1/4. And let me tell you your score lines for this. Again, this is all in the tutorial, but we're going to score it 1/2 inch, 5 1/4, scroll down over here to 9 3/4 and 10 1/2. I've given all those edges a nice hard crease, and we're going to adhere this together. Again, as I said, it's just going to create a little sleeve. So what I'm going to do here is, actually, I'm going to put the edge of this, let me show you this. It's going to lay flat. This little lip is just going to fold down right there and adhere. So I'm just going to put adhesive on this one. By the way, guys, this one's not going to show. This is going to be totally enclosed. That's why I said this is fine to be on the outside. Let's really make sure that's good and adhered. Now, we need to add just a little bit more stability to this. I've got a piece of cardstock that is 4.5 by 5 1/4. We are going to score this at 2 1/4 and 3 inches. I've given those a nice crease with my bone folder, and then let me kind of show you how this is going to work. I'm going to put my drawer into the box, or into the sleeve, if you will. We are now going to take this sleeve and we're going to wrap it around the box. This is going to add some stability as we put that heavy, those heavy cubes on there. Of course, once we get some of our months and things in here, we're going to add even more stability. But this part's very, very important. When we adhere this sleeve down to our box, this area right here in the middle, no adhesive. If you do, sadly, I hate to tell you this, you're going to glue your drawer down. It's not going to open. Well, that's not going to be good at all. So, all right, so you can see I've got my fast fuse all over except there in the middle. So we can just put our box right there, adhere that down, adhere the bottom down. Got a little fast fuse sticking out there. I'm going to go ahead and open up the drawer. That way I can get my hands in here and give that a really good press. So you can see down in there, that's why we didn't want adhesive. And now my box is done. Now let's work on that great stand. All right, we're going to take the 8.5 by 5.5 piece of cardstock. I've just folded it in half. I'm going to be using the top note die. We're going to put that down, run that through the Big Shot. Now, if you don't have the top note die, you might look at some of your other dies and see what might work. I love the little perforation that came in the top note. I thought it was really pretty. I have about 7 inches of our Sahara Sand lace. Love this stuff, so pretty. And what I'm going to do, remember there's a right and wrong side to your top note, so I'm going to make sure I have the right side up. I'm going to lay that lace on there, and I'm just going to adhere it down with some fast fuse. Now, I have to tell you, it's going to be totally encased, so I'm not too worried about, all that ick there on the back. Let's just add some fast fuse back here to kind of hold it in place. And guys, I'm just coming right, let me zoom in. You can see I'm coming right to that point of the top note. But really, it's just decoration, so if you're not using the top note, don't get too wrapped up in, where the lace goes. It's just adding a little decorative edge. All right, coming back in with that Simply Scored. That thing's getting a workout today, huh? I've got a piece of cardstock that is 4.5 by 5.25. We're going to score this at 2.25 inches. I'm going to score it 3 inches, but guys, on this one, I want you to give it just a very light, it's really just a mark, okay? We're not going to crease on that line, so we want that to be very faint. So don't press that one down too hard. Now, let me show you. When I put my top note die, ooh, look at this. We don't want that. We're going to just cut this down from that little faint score line that we just talked about. We're just going to come in and miter a little bit of this. Don't worry about how straight you cut or anything. It's not going to be seen, even on the back. We're going to be covering that up. All right, so what I want to do now is I want to adhere my top note dies, and I want the point to line up with that, that little faint score line. So let me bring this in again. I'm going to take my fast fuse. All right, so I can line it up from side to side. I've got my point lined up with that little faint crease line. We're now going to take our other top note die. Again, remember there's a front and a back, so this is the back. We're going to put fast fuse all over this and adhere it so we can hide all of that. Looks good. Okay, oh guys, we're getting there, we're getting there. We're now going to adhere this area to our box. I want to get fast fuse all over here, basically to the point, to that little faint line that we made, because that's going to attach on the back here. Remember, the back of the drawer is covered, so we do want to put, I only thought I should tell you that because I've been saying, ooh, don't put adhesive here, but yeah, we're going to go ahead and go all the way down this section. All right, yeah, it's a little messy, but it's a good thing no one's going to see it. All right, so I'm going to lay my box, bring that up to the top. Little fast fuse sticking out there, that's okay. Luckily it comes off really easy. I'm going to slide that box out so I can give that a good crease and down inside there. Awesome. Guys, our stand, our drawer is done. We can now add our cubes, but how about some mutts to go on top? Let's create those, and those go together really quick. All right, so I've got 12 pieces of Sahara Sand cut 4.25 by 1 inch. I want to create a flag on the end. You can either come in with the hexagon punch. I love this one. You can see that makes a really great flag. If you prefer, you can just cut it. My favorite way to do that is to cut a line up the center and then come along here on the sides, and you get a great flag that way as well. I want to put my flags to the left, and I'm going to come in now with the Project Life Day to Day stamp set. Beautiful little months in this stamp set. I'm going to ink it up in some early espresso ink. And we're going to stamp that over by the flag. Very simple to do. And of course, you're going to do this with all 12 months. And now we can just add some really great flowers to the edges. I have got just some scrap cardstock. This is a Tangerine Tango. I'm going to come in with the Pansy Punch. I'm going to punch 2 of these. I'm then going to come in with the Petite Petals punch. I'm going to punch 1 of these. Now, actually, you're going to need 12 of these when it's all said and done. And as far as the colors that you want to choose for all your different months, I do have a list in the tutorial of the ones that I chose. You're welcome to do that, or just get creative with the paper, designer series paper, whatever you have. We're now going to, let me bring in some Stampin' Dimensionals. I'm going to put a dimensional there in the middle. I'm going to take my other punch, just put it off a little ski-wampus there. We can now fluff this just a tiny bit. This one here, I'm just going to adhere with a mini glue dot because I find it, oh wait, you know what, let's give it some dimension. Ooh, gotta do that. This is one of my favorite techniques. So I love to take the Petite Petals and I put it on my Stampin' Pierce mat. I've got my stylus tool there. If you'll just give it a press in the middle. Ooh, isn't that cute? Okay, now we can come in with a mini glue dot. You know, sometimes these ideas come to us as we get to work and we go, hey, you know what this needs? Look at that right there. But how about a little something in the middle? Candy dots to the rescue. This is going to be really fun because now you can kind of get creative. By the way, I used the Brights collection of candy dots for all 12. It worked great, even though I used some different colors, you know, some different color families in my flowers. I found that I had a Brights candy dot that worked perfect with each of them. They're already adhesive back. Oh, see, doesn't that give that a nice pop of color? It's fabulous. We can now come in. I'm just going to put a tiny bit of fast fuse right there. I can add my little pansy flower. You're going to repeat that with all 12 months. And let me show you, this is kind of what they look like. Lots of really great colors. And we're ready to go ahead and put these inside of our box. Now, I got to tell you, if you try to put them in all the same direction, well, you know what? It's not going to work. So I find that I kind of have to play around with it. So there's May. Just kind of get them where you're going to kind of try to balance them out. You do want to put them face down. The reason for that is as it goes in and out of that drawer, we don't want the flowers to get caught. Another thing is you may be saying, well, Connie, why didn't you just make the box deeper? Wouldn't that have been easier? Well, possibly, but let me tell you, I needed some depth, or I needed some oh, what am I trying to say? I needed something strong in there so that when we slide this in and those heavy cubes go on top, it's hitting something. I don't want the top of this to cave in at all. So when I put my boxes on there, you can see, kind of helps to hold that up. That works really great for me. Now comes the last thing that we have to do. And that very last thing is to add our month. We're just going to put it there. I've got one of our mini clothespins. These little mini clothespins are so great. That is all we need to do. We have our cubes there. Whoops, let that slide a little bit. And that is our fabulous little cube calendar. Oops. Well, everyone, I hope you enjoyed today's tutorial. I sure had a good time creating this one. I think you will too. I hope that you'll give this little project a try. This is going to be one because it's so simple. It really is pretty fast. And this is going to be one you're going to want to be able to give for gifts because, I don't know, there's something about the weight of this thing. It's got so much substance to it. It really is a fantastic project. Be sure to give this one a try. Guys, thanks so much for being a part of my Let's Get Creative video series. I appreciate you guys using your hostess code so very much. And I hope you feel like it's worth taking just a couple extra seconds to add that in to be able to get the Let's Get Creative video for the month. Guys, have a terrific day. We'll see you over at simplysimplestamping.com soon. Have a good one. Bye-bye.